history, becoming the first Italian man to win 3 majors. Runner-up Alexander Zverev admitted Sinner deserved the trophy.
I was hoping that I could be more of a competitor today, but you're just too good. You really deserve it.
Scott Mayman for CBS News, Canberra, Australia.
This is the second most important day on the NFL calendar. The AFC and NFC championships will be decided. The startlingly good Washington Commanders play the Eagles in Philadelphia this afternoon. Tonight, it's the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs in Kansas City. The winners of the games go to the Super Bowl on February 9th. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Consumer Reports has released its latest auto tire test results.
Hundreds of tires were analyzed.
So we test them for everything from their dry and wet braking abilities to snow traction to how long they'll last.
Ryan Pizolkowski is the magazine's tire manager. For cars and SUVs, the Michelin Defender 2 got the highest marks for braking and hydroplaning resistance, and it has a tread life of 100,000 miles.
Those are the things that should mean something to you because they could prevent you from getting in an accident.
And for trucks, the Continental Terrain Contact HT took the top spot.
Continental always finds itself at the top or right below, especially with their truck products.
Steve Cathan, CBS News.
1 week into its flight, a private American spacecraft has captured stunning images of Earth. Firefly Aerospace's lunar lander Blue Ghost is still circling Earth, but will soon head to the moon, where it will land in about a month. The Blue Ghost is carrying experiments for NASA. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
Yeah. Welcome back. Hafaday, you're tuned in to Wave 105.1 FM. My name is Melvin Wonpat Borja, and you are locked in for another episode of Challenge the Status Quo, brought to you by the Commission on Decolonization and our friends at Glimpses. I'm excited about today's show. We got another episode or another round of crew conversation. So this is what I'm calling it the crew conversation. So I got Byron Uggan and Harmony Palagonis here, both from the Commission on Decolonization. These are the brains behind the references that you hear on this show. I couldn't do this show without these two fine workers over here at the Commission on Decolonization. So thank you two for coming down to the studio today to have a conversation with us. We're going to be talking about a few different things today. Three of the bigger ones will be the President Trump's signing of an EO in regard to birthright citizenship. We're going to talk a little bit about some political status talk that was taking place over at the Rotary Club. There's an article written in, where was it written in?
The Post.
The Post. Yeah. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the build-up, specific to this story that was run about the U.S. Marine Corps Commandant and his comments on the Marine relocation. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to get through. We only got 2 hours to do it. But if you want to get involved in the conversation, the number is 922-1051 or 1052, and we'd be happy to loop you into this. Peace to our friends on the COD Instagram Live tuning in, and we're also live on Wave's Facebook. And you can actually WhatsApp, comment, or send your questions if you send it to the 922-1051 number. So we're stoked that you're here with us. We're stoked that the Wave still lets us do this thing. Super stoked. And we apologize. We missed you last Monday. It was a holiday, so I can't make these guys work the holiday. I can, but it's just, it was MLK Day, man. Come on, we can't. we want to celebrate too. But yeah, we're back for another installment, and we're stoked to get this thing going. So let's start with the EO. There was a bunch of coverage on this, a lot out of NPR, but the gist of it is that President Trump signed an EO on January 20th of this year, basically asserting that the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born within the United States. And so basically what's happening is that there's this ongoing predicament, and we still haven't kind of figured out the full implications of this, what this is going to actually look like. But the basic idea is that if you they're questioning how people become U.S. citizens and whether birthright citizenship should be extended to all of these people who are already citizens, and what it means for the new births and the new citizens of the United States. So I wanted to, before we let's just jump right into. Let's just start with the EO itself. So you guys have done some reading on this, because the assignment was to figure. We do this all the time, guys. If you're just tuning in with us for the first time, or you've never caught one of these segments with Byron and Harmony on, we in our office we have a lot of discussions about current events, both local and national and international, I should include, and what are the implications to us as citizens who have still not exercised our right to self-determination and still have a live political status issue. We discuss a lot about, what do these things mean to us, and how does it affect what it is that we're trying to do moving forward. So in your reading of the EO and the stories around it, what are some of the give us the 101 for our listening audience.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Oh, and thanks for having us on again. We love being here and being a crew together on here. So basically, I'll just give like a 101 on what the EO said. Yeah,
the elevator version.
Period. Let's try for 30 seconds. It says, basically, President Trump ordered all U.S. government departments and agencies not to issue documents recognizing U.S. citizenship or accept documents issued by state, local, or other government authorities. And this is where it comes in. If that person's mother was unlawfully present in the United States and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident at the time of said person's birth, or when the person's mother's presence in the United States was lawful but temporary, and the person's father was not a United States citizen or lawful permanent resident. This is set to go into effect within 30 days. Mm-hmm. There is like an injunction by a federal judge currently, so this EO is currently on hold. But basically what it focuses on is the first sentence of the 14th Amendment. Right. which also like applies to us, and we'll get more into what it means. But the first sentence of the 14th Amendment has this clause that says, citizen, or you're not a citizen if you're, it's Monday, but it essentially says subject to the jurisdiction thereof, meaning citizens that are subject to the jurisdiction of the Constitution. So they're arguing that certain individuals are not subject to the Constitution and therefore are not citizens of the U.S. And yeah, it's a little like, we'll go into the weeds, but it's a lot.
It is. I mean, there is definitely a lot to unpack. And because we don't know yet what it actually is going to look like, it's not applicable until February 19th. And there, of course, there are people challenging this. But I think the important thing for us, at least in our context, right? I mean, I think on the surface, you look at this and it's easy to kind of see what President Trump is up to. I mean, it's not, it doesn't stray very far from his campaign rhetoric. So, this is the war on immigrants, right? Basically, we're talking about he's challenging whether or not illegal immigrants can give birth in the United States and their children become U.S. citizens. But this, it's not as federal policy is never black and white, and it can't just kind of be applied across the board and assume that, the outcome is going to be predictable. And even more so in regard to territories. I mean, you can see, I think it's easy to project, I shouldn't say easy. It's a lot simpler to project the impact of any federal policy on members of the Union states. But there's the territories are always a wild card. And even in this application, right, of the Constitution, right, jurisdiction of the Constitution, people living in the territories live in a very constitutional gray area.
Definitely.
And it's solely because of our inferior political status. And so I think this is obviously where we do our jump off. For me, this is the fun part. I think that this is what interested me in doing this work with the government. That's how I baited these two smart people. I'm sure they could have got hired somewhere else, but in their hearts, they were academically intrigued. But I think that this is also one of the things I think is great about this platform is that, we get to have these conversations with a wider audience. We get to, incorporate listeners into the conversation. So, Byron, let me give you a chance to give your 2 cents on this. And then we'll just, from there, we can jump into, I guess the critical context and our analysis of what this means for us.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And I'm not sure if you shouted it out a couple weeks ago, but if we realize how long we've been on the air with this segment of Wave, it's been about a year now.
Oh, really?
Thinking about it. Yeah,
oh,
we started last January.
You guys are here for our 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, Reese. Awesome. Thanks for reminding me. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, you see, it's just been quite an amazing opportunity in partnership with Wave as well. I think this show has been really robust in the amount of content we've been able to put out to the public, into Radio Land. The caliber of guests we've had a chance to invite in who are so down to sit down and have this sort of conversation. Yeah, we've had a pretty good
lineup in here in the past year. Good call, Byron. I like that.
And then I'm not sure if you want to promo, but I think we'll have a good start to February. We're looking to invite the task forces.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we did, if you missed it, we did have a run where we extended invitations to the 3 political status task forces. So if you're unfamiliar with COD, we manage the work of 3 political status task forces who are comprised of volunteers, but they receive some of our public funding that funds our office operations and from the legislature in order to conduct or cover the costs of their educational campaigns. And so you won't hear us telling you which status to choose, but you'll hear the task forces telling you that, which is their job, right? Their job is to say choose this status over another one. So we are planning to get another round of shows where each status task force gets a chance to kind of make their pitch to the community about why they believe, statehood or free association or independence is the best option for Guam. If you are interested, please stay tuned and follow us on our social media. We'll be putting out announcements on when each task force will be on the air with us. Thanks for that reminder, too.
Oh, no, of course, yeah. But yeah, back to the subject at hand with, this current issue with the 14th Amendment and how that's being contested, right? I think with this particular matter, it's testing the rule of the law, the rule of the land of the U.S., because this is an enshrined constitutional right with the 14th Amendment. And if you think of sort of the historical context of the 14th Amendment, this was ratified in the Constitution in 1868. That's 3 years after the U.S. Civil War ended. And the issue of citizenship in this matter of, this rule of law, just solely, right, if you're a citizen or if you're born into the land of the United States, you're guaranteed that citizenship. But when this was ratified in the Constitution as an amendment, after the Civil War, this was an issue that stemmed before it was actually a cause of the Civil War. Because the issue was that if this right was going to be enshrined for people in this country, specifically those who were enslaved or would be free, that was an issue at the time for southern states. Because these were states that had interests in keeping slaves, not to have them as citizens, because that would affect sort of the political landscape.
It would it rocked the political landscape as we've seen, the most recent century. I mean, I think this is really great context for this conversation because it's impossible to talk about these fundamental rights without the history attached to it. And I say that because from an indigenous perspective, it's usually done at our expense. And I think that's, a big part of the challenge. I've always had trouble with this idea that the federal government will say to Guam, well, yeah, we support self-determination because that is a fundamental principle of U.S. democracy, but then turn around and say, well, you have to enact self-determination under our set of rules. And for me, it was just kind of very problematic and hypocritical because it's like, now freedom and equality and democracy, equity and equal rights, all of that good stuff, that matters now after we've already benefited from this oppression and this, the historic inequity has now put us at an advantage. And now we want it to be fair for everybody, and that's really that's also at the heart of one of Trump's other actions. And we were just talking about it before when Patty was on the closeout in the hallway. We were just talking about what was it? Was it an EO also?
Yes, it was another executive order.
Yes, the executive order basically was to, it's putting at question the hires of affirmative action type hires, right? What is it? Diversity, equity,
and inclusion.
And inclusion. Yeah. There you go. That's the new label, but this has been around for a long time. And so, at the heart of affirmative action and diversity, equity, inclusion policy is the address of the initial harm done, right? And it's what I like about these policies is that they're very much in the same kind of bloodstream as decolonization, right? Is that we first have to address what was done to us historically, right? We're trying to enact historical justice here, right? And so restorative justice. And so these are, yes, very different issues, but they both challenge these rights that that in principle should be applied to all of us as citizens, regardless of whether we live in a territory or not. But these are things that also have very, very clear implications for us living in the territory. Okay, sorry, I totally just jumped in your soapbox session.
Oh, no, that's okay. And it's important to just highlight this because when we think about, the sort of gray area that the territories like Guam lives in within this bubble, right, the application of the Constitution, we have to remember that Guam doesn't have its own Constitution. We have a statutory Constitution itself, or a proxy Constitution, if that's the correct way to label it. That's the Organic Act.
That's a good way to say it, yeah, for sure.
To serve in the face of. And it's important to remember that even though... speaking back to history for Guam, even though that Guamanians and Chamorros wanted sort of more rights under the Constitution, right, or rights under the American flag, they didn't ultimately see what the Organic Act was,
right,
because this was an act that was passed unilaterally by Congress, which still applies today, and that means that we are not entitled to the rights of the Constitution as those born in the bona fide 50 states, the 48 contiguous states, and that includes Hawaii and Alaska.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a huge piece that gets lost even for us. You know, a lot of our people are unaware of, you know, what the Organic Act really meant to us, for us, what it still means and represents, and just the, you know, the difference in the access to a fair and equal process. And I think that that's something that I always kind of carry with me when we talk about issues around citizenship and, you know, even our identity as American citizens, right? A lot of people, a lot of Chamorros are very proud to be Chamorro, have a very like clear cultural identity and even ethnic identity, but politically they still identify as being American. And so, you know, it's a very nuanced conversation to have with our own people. But I always try to, you know, hold that one close to me, that the Organic Act that made us U.S. citizens, that a lot of us, you know, wholeheartedly accept and quite frankly love. I think there are a lot of Chamorros out there who you know, still would, if they were given a choice, they would choose to be American citizens. And, you know, to this is not I'm not trying to get into the weeds on what you should choose or what your preference should be. But I think that the key piece is that, right? That the Organic Act was an act of Congress. We didn't choose the Organic Act. We were never asked. There were a number of Chamorros, a lot of famous Chamorros, you know, who advocated for U.S. citizenship and the signing of the Organic Act. But nonetheless, you know, it was not an act of self-determination. It's not something that we all came together and said, yeah, this is what we want for our indefinite future. And even if it was, let's just say for the sake of argument that it was a genuine act of self-determination, we should still not be a territory, right? We should, this is an unresolved status. You know, to remain a territory is not, represents, you know, an injustice within itself. But it is very nuanced. Sorry, Harmony, you sounded like you had some thoughts here.
Oh, no, yeah. I just wanted to add on and go back to that term that Byron used, statutory, and just talk about like the differences when it comes to being a citizen when you're on Guam versus being a citizen when you're in the 50 states.
Agreed. And I'm glad you interjected there, because Harmony is making sure that we're going to get this thing done. But that is the jumping point. That is the most important piece, I think, when we have this conversation in the context of Guam, U.S. citizens in Guam, is the nature of our citizenship. So let's go there. Let's talk about the difference between birthright citizenship and statutory citizenship. I know this is all kind of Greek to a lot of people. You know, you're a U.S. citizen. I think most people assume, right, that because Guam is a U.S. territory, Guam's a part of the United States, that when you're born here, you just automatically become a citizen. There's really no difference. You know, they don't mark on your passport if you're a statutory citizen or a birthright citizen. So for most of us, it's just kind of a detail that gets lost in the mix. So what is the difference between the two for our listening audience?
Yeah, well, basically, statutory citizenship means that our citizenship on Guam and then the other territories is established through an act. So for us, that's the Organic Act, which, again, was unilaterally, so without a vote, passed by Congress. And it made residents of Guam in August 1st, 1950, like, instant citizens of the U.S. without their consent. In the United States, it's that another Latin term and that Byron used was just soli. So if you're born in the U.S., if you were born there, then you instantly get citizenship. That's birthright citizenship. Because we're statutory citizens, the Constitution doesn't fully apply to us in Guam. And some days, like, it really, in our everyday lives, we don't feel it, I think. But when we think about it, you really see the differences. I think most notably when it comes to, like, voting rights. Yeah, like being able to vote for president, having voting representation in Congress. We only have we say this all the time in our outreach, but we only have one non-voting representative to the House of Representatives. And I don't think about that every day, but when I do, like, I notice the differences and our lack of meaningful say at the federal level when we're still a part of the U.S. as a territory.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge gap that has very real impact. But I mean, even in the application of this challenge to the 14th Amendment, this was also the core of the challenge on the Davis case, right? And our assertion to execute the self-determination process on our terms. So what Guam did, the Guam legislature passed the law that created the Commission on Decolonization, gave us our mandate, and then created the kind of framework for a self-determination plebiscite, which, by the way, was a non-binding plebiscite. And this thing got challenged in federal court, ruled on by the 9th District Court, and we lost. And that was the assertion by the federal judge, was that it violated the 14th and 15th, right? 14th and 15th Amendments.
Yes.
And so, it's interesting, I think, that, here's where we're starting to see, the different ways that states can kind of leverage the amendments and these like common understandings, right? Baseline agreements that we don't have access to in the same way. So I think it's a really interesting thing. But in terms of this particular EO and this conversation with Trump's, decision to question and challenge this, I think it is important for all of us to recognize that though it is very unlikely, it is possible, I think, that statutory citizens can have their citizenship revoked, which is very different than birthright citizens, right? Birthright citizens, I mean, it's kind of it's like the reinforcement of the monarchy. You know what I mean? Like, the bloodline shall remain strong. We are chosen by God. You don't get this removed. God, you can't challenge God's choice to make you a citizen. But statutory citizenship is very different, and I think that it sucks, right? It sucks to be like, man, we're like second-class citizens, but it's, man, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably nganga, man. And so, I think that it's just something that we have to accept. It's something that it should make us uncomfortable. I think that all of us should look at our citizenship in that way, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of if you love your citizenship under the United States or you hate it. I think we should all just recognize that the truth of the matter is that we are statutory citizens. I mean, unless you're one of those that was born in the States, your parents moved to the States and you were born in California. But if you're a statutory citizen, I think it should be something that makes us uncomfortable. And it just should be an understanding that, another reminder that we do have an inferior status. So let's talk about a little bit about the ways that this how did this evolve for us in Guam, and how has it continue to kind of operate, right? Because this is still an ongoing issue, right? Even in the way, I guess in the original intent of the Trump EO, we know what he's after, and even that framework can very easily be applied to 2025 Guam. We have a lot more. Usually don't think of territories as being like a hot point for illegal immigration. I feel like a lot of the national conversation around this is directed at the Mexican border. But we're experiencing an increase in illegal immigration. It's become a challenge for both our local government and the federal government. But the birthright and statutory citizenship acquisition by immigrants, I think it's a very sensitive subject. And I think very different here, even though we're starting to kind of move along the same lines as the national trend. The application is very different here versus in the continental U.S., especially with the states that line the border. I think the challenge for those is that's like us in Saipan. You know what I mean? Like having different political status between Guam and Saipan, and California and Mexico, or Texas and Mexico. because they're, you know, families. They're families that are connected to each other on both sides of the border, right? And so, but here now, you know, with what our challenge currently really is dealing with Chinese immigrants, which is a very kind of different thing for us, right? It's not like there's like this cultural or familial connection between us and point of origin. And ironically, this is also, you know, the two big superpowers going at it in the globe. And so it's even more, it's even more nuanced when you start adding the national security conversation into the mix. But I think that that set of circumstances makes it very high stakes for the people of Guam, because it only further brings into question, you know, the quality of your statutory citizenship. How good is your citizenship, and what does it mean in the end? You know, like I still feel like there's so much planned for Guam in terms of the military buildup impact. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point right now, maybe about, but we have yet to feel the massive influx in terms of sheer numbers into, you know, woven into our population. And what is that going to look like? And what is that going to mean? And what is immigration going to look like at that point? I'm totally just going off on a tangent right now. Don't mind me, guys. You can just jump in here and interrupt me at any point. But yeah, you know, when you think about the immigration conversation, this is also something that, you know, within the context of political status and what Guam has done as a government, as a people to empower itself, this was a breaking point in the Commonwealth Draft Act, right? And then now it's how ironic, not ironic, I thought it was pretty predictable that, you know, we're kind of here at the same place as we were back in the Commonwealth Draft Act era, where we're battling with these immigration challenges that are clearly impacted by our political status and our inability to control immigration for ourselves and do it on our terms. But the other breaking point was mutual consent on military activity, which this would absolutely fall under. Like, you know, if there was a planned buildup, despite notwithstanding any sovereign negotiation between Japan and the United States, if we had been granted or acknowledged that we have a right to mutual consent, the entire buildup conversation would be different. We wouldn't be negotiating through Section 106 and NEPA and just trying to figure out, you know, creative mechanisms to have some kind of say because there's federal recognition on those issues, which is completely not the case, not how we do business now. Yeah, I'm going in there. I'm going there, man. We have to. I think it's important. You know, I think that this is something that gets lost a lot on our people because, you know, we have this idea, because we're citizens, that, you know, that we do have representation, that we are negotiating, you know, that there's some magical, like, political back room. We are, you know, negotiating with the powers that be, and we're getting the most bang for our buck here on the buildup, which I just, you know, I know is not the case. I mean, and it's no disrespect to those that are, you know, within our government that are moving and shaking and trying to figure out ways to have, you know, to get the best possible outcome within this imposition. But it's not a negotiation, and I think that that's the key point, you know, is that our people, our voting base, we need to recognize that we are not negotiating on equal terms at all.
Yeah, and I think that's just the overarching theme when it comes to like Guam's continued quest for decolonization, and trying to link it back to citizenship is that like when fighting to get citizenship prior to 1950, it's all about having more say and getting a more equal voice in the conversations. Right. So what the federal government is doing is not like done onto us without having a say. Right. And that can even be seen with the Organic Act and what Byron was mentioning prior to its passage. Right. It was about having more say over land and protecting one's land as part of it. Yeah,
like a regular U.S. citizen would, right? Yeah. The kind of the respected rights of land ownership extended to citizens. And, you know, and that I think is a big part of the the social aspect of this conversation is that our people were fighting with this issue because we were a people without a nation. This is prior to the signing of the Organic Act, after the war, during a rapid militarization of the island. And so, for a lot of people, and it's not to disrespect those that and the families who advocated for U.S. citizenship and really were supportive of the Organic Act. I mean, you can't blame that generation of Chamorros for having that mentality. I mean, you see it, right? They could see people, U.S. citizens, being treated with dignity in regard to land ownership and respect for that ownership. Ironically, that was all done, off the backs of first indigenous peoples, First Nations peoples. It's just another rabbit hole for us to go down. Then you add Native Hawaiians, Native Alaskans into the mix. Oh my gosh.
It's a deep conversation.
The United States clearly has a territories problem, a colony problem, guys. It's not just like a saying, It's not just a hashtag. They got a problem. It's definitely an issue. Speaking of President Trump, I'm totally going to do another jump off here, but we were talking about this in the office before we came in. President Trump, again, making headlines. There was a member of the European Parliament, representative from Greenland, who went off and told President Trump to F off in the Parliament. And so this thing made, it started getting a lot of play on the internet and eventually got onto CNN. They brought the dude in I can't even remember his name, but they brought him in to interview him. Oh, here it is. He's the Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. I'm butchering your first name, sir. I'm sorry. So the context of this was that he was, if you missed it, there was a point where President Trump was saying that he wanted to trade Guam for Greenland or something, or trade Puerto Rico. I can't remember which one it was. There was a territory, USVI maybe. He was talking about. It was super offensive, guys. I don't even remember the full conversation, but it's basically that he wanted to trade a territory to acquire Greenland, buy Greenland. And he was saying, we need it it's important for the U.S. national security, to protect the international border. And so this representative in Parliament took offense to it, which I think was fair. And he straight up was just like, you can't. He talked about their relationship with Denmark, because they're also, were previously a territory. They now have, an integrated relationship with the Kingdom of Denmark. And so he came on to CNN and started talking about how, President Trump started to say that they could give Greenland a better deal than Denmark. And then he turned around and was like, you don't even know anything about our relationship. Like, their relationship has been around 3 times as long as the United States has been a country. And they actually have representation within Denmark's government, like voting representation, not like what we got. Voting representation. And there's I can't remember when it is, but it's coming up in the next 10 years. There's an opportunity for the citizens of Greenland to self-determine and decide. Independence is an option for them in this plebiscite. And so it definitely is a very different kind of relationship between Greenland and Denmark and any of the U.S. territories and the United States. And he did this in the context of the U.S. Virgin Islands. He said, the U.S. Virgin Islands is a territory. And he basically argued the U.S. is not really doing a good job with their territories, specifically USVI, who has no voting representation, and compared the two, the two different relationships. And basically said you have a really difficult task to make a compelling argument that the U.S. could treat Greenland better than Denmark does, which I personally agree with. I don't think anybody wants the deal that Guam, Puerto Rico, USVI, and American Samoa got. Not even the CNMI, right? The CNMI was like, yeah, we're going to go for Commonwealth. Territory pass, hard pass. So, I think that it's interesting because, again, like I think at the heart of all of this is we were front and center, like Stride for Tribe. We had people out at the conventions and following this U.S. presidential election. I would say that we're major stakeholders, like legitimate stakeholders who have a very understandable reason to care about the outcome of a presidential election. And there were more people less people voted for Trump in Guam, right? Was Trump the top in Guam's poll?
No,
No, right? The Democratic ticket took it. Yep. So obviously, the majority, if we're applying a true model of democracy on Guam, that was not our pick. And just to give credit to those or acknowledge those in Guam that did, do support Trump policy. But nonetheless, right, we're supposed to live in a democratic system. Majority rules, that's the basic principle. But, does not apply when you're being polled and not actually voting.
Yeah, having electoral college
right.
votes.
Again, yes. That's where I'm going. That's exactly where I'm going. It's not just about, our representation or lack of representation in the Senate, in the Congress, but also in the electoral college. Mm-hmm. It's funny how like Guam always makes national headlines during the presidential election because we're usually the predictor. I think this is one of the few times that the outcome in Guam was not the outcome of the race. Yep. But it's just funny and sadly ironic that that's how we get mentioned. That's what is talked about in national media. It's like, oh, Guam is like the exit poll, like whatever Guam says, but it doesn't count. But usually what they say, that's what's going to happen in the outcome.
Yeah, we're not on the election map of, here's Guam with the X number of electoral college votes.
Yeah, Guam is not a swing state, which it would be. I think that's a big part of the challenge. Personally, I think that's going to be a huge obstacle to overcome should Guam, choose statehood in an act of self-determination. And then that'll be a difficulty in negotiating the terms of statehood or the adoption, allowing the admission of Guam into the Union. Is how will they deal with electoral college votes? And I think that's, that obviously that applies also to the Senate and the House of Representatives, right? Yeah. You get a guaranteed 2 votes in the Senate, 2 seats in the Senate for a population of, less than 200,000. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so the same would apply in electoral college votes, right? Is the ratio of citizens to votes, which I can understand. If I was on the outside looking in, if I was in part of the federal system as a state, you're sharing a piece of the pie with a constituency that is tiny compared to what you're dealing with. So. Yeah. Distribution of resources is going to always be a challenge, resources and power. But nonetheless, the statehood, no matter how messy and how difficult a statehood negotiation would be, it's way better than being a territory for sure.
For sure.
And that's the thing I like. That's what I like about what we do. We don't have to get in the weeds on political status preference. We have the luxury of just being able to like shoot holes in the territorial status and then turn around and be like, any of these statuses is way better than what we got. Which is, I think, ironically, it's a very clear argument. It doesn't always feel like that when we go out into the community. There are people out there that's like, you guys are a bunch of crazies. I don't want to do this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's super broke, man. Super broke. And so it's tough for sure. But I think that the more people learn about this subject, I think the more they understand, where we come from and why we say these crazy things that we say. I don't think it's that crazy.
No.
It especially doesn't sound crazy when you guys are doing all of this reference work. I mean, my notes are super well written, guys. I'm telling you. You can't see it on the live feed, but I got citations and everything. There's even hyperlinks, even though it's on paper.
Yeah, it's not crazy to want equality, which is like a fundamental principle when it comes to the founding of the U.S.
Right. I think it's appropriate, right? I mean, this is what we're teaching our kids in school. This has been a part of the new recent push is that we have prioritized, a U.S. education awareness of U.S. government that is built on this premise that we're part of it, that we're included. You know what I mean? So like historically, our kids learn more about the U.S. system of government as though we are participating as equals, and less about what it really means for us as citizens of a territory. And it's not to be disrespectful of previous educational efforts, but it just has not been as comprehensive as it should be. And now I think that we're seeing a lot more interest, by our educators, and a demand from our community that, we have to talk about these things in school. It doesn't mean that we stop teaching U.S. government, but we really put an emphasis on, local government and our local history and our efforts in this vein, which I think is great. I think that a lot of our young people are coming in with a much more critical perspective. We've done a lot of work with our youth to do outreach, and the engagement has changed significantly. I mean, I can personally attest to that. The kind of reception that we get from young people has changed so much. I feel like our young people are super critical right now. And I credit it a lot to the access to information.
Definitely.
Their expanded worldview. It's crazy how like COVID made everybody survive on the internet. And so like people started to explore the world virtually during that crazy time. And yeah, it's a double-edged sword, because COVID also made a bunch of like socially awkward little kids. This is the truth, dude. It is so true. There's like there's generations of kids out there who had like -2 years of human interaction outside of their parents. Don't tell me that doesn't have a real effect on people.
Oh my gosh. If I can just cut in, I'm
Please.
sorry. I don't have too much to say about everything else, but I do have one thing to say about this certain topic we're talking about. And I feel bad because, in a lot of establishments that I go to, it is a lot of the younger generation, or the generation that was going through high school and school while COVID was happening. And you know what I realized? A lot of them don't smile. There's nothing on their face. They
dead inside.
They
oh
look
no.
upset, and I'm genuinely like, what is wrong? But then I have to remember that maybe they don't know how to properly, and I hate to say it like that because I'm not saying that they're dumb or they cannot learn to, but I think because it was a very impactful event that happened, and so I don't blame them, but I'm just like, hello.
To talk to only their parents for 2 years,
right?
Reese.
Or I got to put on the virtual thing and be like, serve me in the simulator or whatever, or simulator. But yeah, I just feel like you're totally right about that, and I think it affects them so much so that I don't think they know how to properly greet people or be in front of people. Just because I had that experience, and it's not that they're bad kids or they don't want to talk to you. I think they just don't know how to properly interact with someone because of that. I feel like they just kind of lost, like it just went away.
Socializing is a hands-on experience.
Yes, it is.
You can't learn social skills on the interwebs. It just doesn't work that way. I mean, I feel like that's a big part of our, the shift in our community. I had a funny conversation with, shout out to my guy, Senor John Ray Uggan, who was one of my colleagues. He was a teacher at Southern High School when I was a student, Tomoto language teacher, and he was my colleague when I started working there. I had a conversation with him a couple weekends ago, and he was saying that he was recalling listening to the radio, and they were talking about crime, like people getting ripped off at their homes, and some caller called in and said, the reason why we have the root of this problem is aircon. and the host was just like, wow, what are you talking about? And she said that, back when she was a kid, nobody had aircon. And so your house was open all the time, and you had to talk to your neighbors because you heard them, you saw each other, and so everybody knew everybody. And it was just like impossible to roll up on somebody's house without anybody seeing you. But now that we live in these concrete houses that are so hot and need aircon, it's so much easier to kind of just seal yourself off when you're in your home and be in your little bubble and nobody ever sees anything going down. And it just made me think, like, yeah, I get it. It's kind of an extreme example, but you could apply the similar principle to social media interaction. Like, our society kind of transitioning into these different mediums rather than, being connected to each other. And, that's one of the things that's, I think, beautiful about Guam. And even, it's changed even like the work that we do. A lot of what we do now has had to be translated into a social media platform. People don't, and we've done the thing, like try to go out into the community and have like a teach-in or an event, and people don't show up the way that they used to for those things. People don't go to pocket meetings anymore, man. They don't, unless there's like a live election going on, which is also part of the challenge, I think. If we had a plebiscite live, I feel like our engagement would be way more intense. Anyhow, we are running up on the top of the hour. We didn't even get into the Rotary Club, but we're going to do that in the top of the next hour. And then we also want to talk a little bit about this U.S. commandant who is challenging the build-up strategy, like as a whole, in regard to Guam, which is a really interesting one. But keep it locked here on 105.1 FM. We will be back for another hour of Challenges Status Quo. Stay with us.
KGUM FM, Agutnya, Guam. The sound of Guam is Wave 105 FM.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Christopher Cruz. Word today that Colombia's president has blocked the arrival of deportation flights from the U.S. He said the American government, quote, can't treat Colombian migrants like criminals, and called on the U.S. to establish a dignified process for migrants before Colombia receives them. What should be done about the Gaza Strip, where wars and miseries never end and terrorists hide? President Trump says it might be time to just, quote, clean it out, moving its residents to other nations in the Middle East. He spoke to reporters on Air Force One.
I'm looking at the whole Gaza Strip right now, and it's a mess. It's a real mess.
Trump says he spoke with Jordan's king about his proposal yesterday and plans to talk about it with Egypt's president today.
I'd like Egypt to take people, and I'd like Jordan to take people.
From Jerusalem, the BBC's Nick Beek says the plan breaks with the long-standing American approach to the enclave.
For decades, successive U.S. administrations have talked about Gaza being the heart of a Palestinian state, and that remains the stated aim of U.S. foreign policy.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and some other senators are very unhappy with the firing of some inspectors general via email Friday night.
In the dark of night, President Trump fired at least 12 independent inspector generals at important federal agencies across the administration. This is a chilling purge.
The IGs were informed the firings were effective immediately. Federal law, however, requires presidents to notify Congress 30 days before they fire an inspector general. Rain fell overnight in Southern California. Welcome wetness in a region where bone-dry conditions have contributed to terrible wildfires. But National Weather Service meteorologist David Roth says the rain could cause problems.
The hourly rain rates could get up to a half inch to 3/4 of an inch, which is more than sufficient, even for a burn scar that might be a year or 2 or 3 years old, for flash flooding.
History made today at the Australian Open.
It was tennis masterclass. Jannik Sinner showed perfect control, winning 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 in 2 hours, 42 minutes. It's his third Grand Slam title, having also won the US Open late last year. He's also created history, becoming the first Italian man to win 3 majors. Runner-up Alexander Zverev admitted Sinner deserved the trophy.
I was hoping that I could be more competitor today, but you're just too good. You really deserve it.
Scott Mayman for CBS News, Canberra, Australia.
This is the second most important day on the NFL calendar. The AFC and NFC championships will be decided. The startlingly good Washington Commanders play the Eagles in Philadelphia this afternoon. Tonight, it's the Buffalo Bills against the Chiefs in Kansas City. The winners of the games go to the Super Bowl on February 9th. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Consumer Reports has released its latest auto tire test results.
Hundreds of tires were analyzed.
So we test them for everything from their dry and wet braking abilities to snow traction to how long they'll last.
Ryan Pizolkowski is the magazine's tire manager. For cars and SUVs, the Michelin Defender 2 got the highest marks for braking and hydroplaning resistance, and it has a tread life of 100,000 miles.
Those are the things that should mean something to you. They could prevent you from getting in an accident.
And for trucks, the Continental Terrain Contact HT took the top spot.
Continental always finds itself at the top or right below, especially with their truck products.
Steve Kathan, CBS News.
1 week into its flight, a private American spacecraft has captured stunning images of Earth. Firefly Aerospace's lunar lander Blue Ghost is still circling Earth, but will soon head to the moon, where it will land in about a month. The Blue Ghost is carrying experiments for NASA. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
It's easy to feel burned out at work, but it's also possible to get yourself out of it. I'm Brian Bandmiller on business. According to Inc.com, there are ways to counter the feeling of exhaustion so extreme that you can barely muster up the strength to go to bed. First, start by detaching. Try a little exercise, get outside, whatever you need to do to calm down, and get the distance you need to clear your head and make better decisions. Next, show yourself a little compassion. Don't beat yourself up if you need to take a break, and get some help from people you trust. Reach out to a friend or a mentor and see how they're doing as well. After you've done all that, take action to improve your work situation. The experts say start small by tackling the little things clogging up your to-do list. Create a list and actually cross things off to show yourself you're making progress. And finally, after all that, if things are not improving, it might be time to consider transferring to a different team or maybe a different job altogether. Brian Bandmiller, CBS News.
The views and opinions expressed in this show are that of the show hosts, guests, and callers. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff and management of Wave 105 FM, Glimpses Media, or any of our partners. As we strive to provide quality, respectful, and engaging content, we welcome you to participate in the conversation. Thank you for tuning in to Wave 105 FM, the sound of Guam. Enjoy the show.
And we're back. Thanks for staying with us. We are live again on our COD Instagram and the Wave Facebook. Again, if you want to get down with the conversation, the number is 922-1051 or 1052. If you got the WhatsApp, you can use the 1051 number. I'm live in the studio with Harmony Palaganas and Byron Uggan, who are the employees over at the Commission on Decolonization. These guys are the smart people that make it all happen. And I'm stoked because we're we were able to have a cool dialogue. Reese totally came in the break, was like, I like it when you guys are in here. And I do too. I appreciate you guys for coming down. It's nice to have a dialogue. You know, sometimes I know that there are a lot of people out there listening and a lot of people who support this, and I love you guys. But we don't get a whole lot of callers in here, so sometimes I'm over here like soapboxing by myself, and like I'm like over here boring Reese to death. Sorry, Reese. Thankfully you're here, Reese, because you keep me human. Make me do stuff and talk about stuff that's like breaking up the monotony.
Got you.
I appreciate it. But we had, we I didn't think we were gonna go off on the Trump thing for the whole hour, but we did, and it was good. I'm glad we did, because it's a great segue into where we want to start on this hour segment. So when was this Rotary Club?
This was about
event?
2 weeks ago,
right,
on the 14th. That's at least when the Post picked up the article.
Okay,
kind of breaking down his comments.
Right. So this our lead on this was from the Post. They ran an article about the Rotary Club gathering, and Professor Ron McNinch was there. The story was about his comments around Guam taking direct action in its relationship with the federal government, or at least that's what the article was titled. So let's just get into the meat of this article, and then we'll do our deep dive right after that.
Sorry, just an aside, because we ended the last hour talking about social media. I just want to plug some of our pages. Yeah, that's
please
okay.
Do.
So if you're not following us already, I usually don't do this. Like I don't have the marketing brain, but I'll turn it on for a second. So
thanks, Byron.
If you're out there in Radio Land, if you're listening out there, if you have an Instagram or Facebook, on Instagram we are Guam COD, and then on Facebook I believe we're the Guam Commission on Decolonization. I'm plugging your social media because in the past month and a half or so, our Instagram page has been sort of bringing us back to the basics, right? Talking about some of the core concepts around decolonization. So I believe this week we will be closing out the status option issues with independence. But the past month and a half, we've just been having like these great graphics that has been led by Harmony, talking about the basic concepts. So we have, decolonization, self-determination, Guam's political status, and of course the 3 status options. So if you want to get sort of the truncated info about what we do, who we are, and why these concepts are so critical to our island, right, and our political future, then follow us. And we also have giveaways attached to them too.
Yeah,
with our
everybody
great
likes giveaways.
Educational material, including our tote bags, which we reprinted late last year. So just plugging that before we continue.
The tote bag is awesome, y'all. For real. It's not a cheapy junk tote bag. That was our deal. Our deal was that if we were going to make a tote bag, it can't be the one that people want to throw away. So if you like the beach and you need a bag to carry your stuff, our tote bag is totally beach worthy. Totally. All right. Thanks, Byron, for reminding us that. Where would I be without you guys? I am not only social media illiterate, but I also don't do that part. Like, follow us on social media. What's our social media again? Oh man. Come on, Melvin. You got to do better. But yeah, so let's the segue for this and from our last conversation really was premised on the uncertain nature of our status, right? As a U.S. territory, there are certain things that we kind of just take for granted or that we assume are going to be extended to us. But every now and then, there are some things that kind of get thrown in our face that make us realize the uncertain nature of our status and the inferiority of our status, even as when it comes to some fundamental things like citizenship. And so, I thought that this was a great way to move into this next topic, because these are things that are these are double-edged swords. I think that there's a lot of value and a lot of there is legitimacy in some of these comments that Ron McNinch was talking about at the Rotary Club in terms of our engagement. But I think that we also have to. It's our responsibility to have a conversation around the full context of the issue. Okay, so let's just jump into the article. So Ron McNinch went to the Rotary Club, which was at the Hyatt Regency Guam a couple weeks ago. For those of you who aren't unfamiliar, Ron McNich is a UOG professor, famous for doing the election exit polls. And the gist of it is that he was quoted in the article saying, we can make progress and we can get things done, but we have to want to do them. We have to stop being our own worst enemy, end quote. Which I don't entirely disagree with. I think there's a lot of relevance to that sentiment. But I also think that essentially what he's advocating for is utilizing more mechanisms within the framework of what we got now. Okay, but let me give it to you guys to kind of take this one away and do the overview of the article, and then we'll do our analysis.
Yeah. Oh, great, thanks. And just to preface, these points that we're presenting is just how this was sort of written and then quoted from McNich via the Post article. Right. So yeah, his sort of commencement as reported from the Post is working in that framework of the territory,
right.
Status we have with the federal government. Mm-hmm. So in some of the highlights from the Post article, McNich at his address was citing like the CNMI, for example, like them using a sort of special representative.
Right.
So he's quoted saying here, quote, the CNMI had a special representative who was an ambassador to do it for them. We need to be a little bit humble and say we need help. And this is what the Post is saying. According to McNich, this approach has been available but overlooked for 25 years. I think the context of this is saying this is something that we could utilize, Guam could. And he was also saying in his sort of address here, sort of this other piece, was he advocated for hiring a professional lobbyist in D.C., and he was suggesting an investment of about $1 million for this lobbyist to help advance Guam's interests. And if we want to keep going further,
let's do the whole thing so that we can just
we
put it all out on the table, at least the way that the Post wrote it and what we know.
Yeah, take it.
We did not attend the Rotary Club address, so just to be fair, we're getting this off of a report.
Yes. Okay, this other piece here. So regarding federal relations, McNich characterized Guam as, quote, a 75-year-old spoiled political teenager, end quote, in its relationship with the United States. He emphasized that the failure to enact a constitution and the failure to pursue Commonwealth status have no effect on Guam's political status, comparing these steps to, quoting him again, having our own apartment, end quote, while remaining within the federal system.
Right.
There's another quote from him here again. Quote, we're on the yellow brick road to nowhere. McNich said, criticizing current approaches to advancing Guam's interests. He particularly questioned the effectiveness of United Nations appeals, stating, quote, all the action happens at the U.S. Congress, and we've got to get better at playing that game, end quote.
Yeah, I don't really disagree with all of that. I mean, I do think that we could be better at playing the federal game, but I also, just to also be fair, we do have a non-voting representative in the federal game. And we have, in the past, utilized lobbying efforts with the federal government. We did during the Commonwealth era, to no avail. Okay, let's just close it out. Let's close out. Is there anything else that we want to add to this before we start to do the unpack?
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Just another thing from the Post here. So McNich also discussed the upcoming political landscape. I would imagine he's alluding to the current presidential administration,
right,
including the potential for meaningful progress with the federal government. He suggested that Guam should take advantage of opportunities to advance its interests, particularly through direct engagement with federal authorities.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go into what I do disagree with. I mean, that's why we're here, man. We are doing the other side of the conversation after all. So I think that for me, at the heart of what I guess my knee-jerk reaction to this is that, I think it's inappropriate to, it's a little offensive, honestly, to kind of insinuate that Guam has been passive or complacent in the address of our political inequity. There's been even for me personally, one of the first things that I felt like I was responsible for doing was figuring out what had others before me done. Just something that we, both of you know this very well. That's kind of like that's the starting point when you work at our office. you first start with like learning our history. You know, what is it that we have done in the past? Where have we been successful? Where have we failed? And, you know, what are we doing moving forward? For me, it was a really enlightening process. Like I felt a great sense of pride when I started to, you know, actively learn about our history and what our people have done in the way of self-government and advocating for a full measure of self-government. There are a lot of fantastic people, intelligent people, outspoken advocates, you know, who did things that I think were very, you know, very trailblazing in a sense that like was not very popular at the time, you know, but they had a vision and they had, you know, some foresight into what these inequities could look like if they remain unaddressed. And so, you know, I think and this is not something new either, I think from Professor McNinch, and this perspective, right, that, I mean, he's been pretty public about, you know, his kind of displeasure in the self-determination efforts for Guam and has, you know, really advocated for more deliberate and kind of focused federal engagement in place of self-determination, that our efforts are better served. They serve us better if we just focus on federal engagement and kind of, you know, stop doing all this other stuff, which I don't subscribe to. I think that we get this perspective quite often, honestly. People say that all the time, like, why, you know, what's the point of you guys going out to the UN, or nobody listens to the UN, who cares? You know, we should just focus all of our effort on the feds and on the White House and in Congress. And my response is always that we've done that already. You know, we haven't stopped doing that. I think that I would even argue that our federal engagement has been pretty active in the last decade. And it's just out of necessity, right? We have to find other ways to be more sovereign, or to have more agency in the impact that we're feeling from the buildup in other federal policies that are kind of outside of our control. So, and then when you look at our political efforts, right? The Commonwealth Draft Act era was really heavily focused on the federal government and on Congress. Our predecessor, the Commission on Self-Determination, at one point they had like a $1.1 million budget, operating budget, which was really used to, yes, conduct education and outreach and engagement on a local level, but was also utilized and leveraged for federal lobbying, basically, like to get us out there into Congress and get the support that we needed. And it's no disrespect to any of those efforts, but I think it's more highlight of the inequity of the system that made that ultimately ineffective. You know, we didn't even get onto the floor with the Draft Act. It just kind of got uprooted in committee, and that was the end of it. You know, there's the argument, I think, in this too, that our non-voting representative in Congress is insufficient, which I don't entirely disagree with. But let's just face it, man, some representatives are better than others, and some representatives are more effective in their engagement around this issue for Guam than others. And, you know, it's not, maybe I shouldn't even say effectiveness, but, you know, some are just not as interested. And we've seen that. You know, we've seen what a very active congressional representative for Guam does for us in terms of pushing this conversation further and higher. And we've seen what it looks like without it. So I wouldn't argue, I wouldn't challenge that we could benefit from more federal engagement, but oftentimes when we have this conversation, we're talking about Constitution, right? Like Constitution versus self-determination, which is always a really messy one, I think, for a lot of people, because this has the same kind of elements of the citizenship conversation, right? We're citizens, so what are we talking about here? Constitution, I think, is the same, right? I think everybody looks at Constitution as like, this is a really good thing, right? Because this is the thing that protects our rights. without ever really understanding how the U.S. Constitution is applied to us or not applied to us. But same within this conversation, right? Drafting and adopting a state constitution is different than drafting and writing a territorial constitution, because that's what the Organic Act is now. That is our constitution. And yeah, we have seen how it's inferior in ways that it doesn't really protect us. And I think that that's part of the argument here too, right? Is that, and we've, to be fair, Ron McNitch has been pretty public about, his thoughts on constitution versus decolonization or self-determination. So let's just start there. Do you guys have any thoughts about the at least the fundamentals of this issue?
Sure. I mean, even with the Constitution issue itself, when we did have Constitution conventions in the past, when we did have a vote for Constitution, it was ultimately denied
Rejected,
by the voting populace at an 82% margin to not pass it, because the crux of the issue is that voters and even those advocating against it wanted the political status issue resolved first.
Right.
Before. And that makes sense as well, because we have a proxy constitution effect right now. If we don't address the status issue, then what's the point?
Right. I mean, I think it always bears asking, right? If we're going to go all in on drafting and adopting a Guam constitution, you have to ask, what kind of constitution are we writing? Because yes, it's true that the United States Congress authorized Guam to draft and adopt its own constitution, right? In an effort to kind of show that they're being proactive in resolving this political status issue. But we've always asserted that, the task is unclear, because the territorial status is so ambiguous, in terms of how American are we really? I mean, what's not ambiguous about the territorial status is that we are a possession. But, if we're going to draft a Guam constitution, it's not quite a state constitution, nor is it a compact of free association, nor is it a constitution of an independent nation. And so it's kind of none of the above. So what is it?
Yeah. Or, sorry, like a lot of the ambiguity, if we made a constitution now, would remain about citizenship and where we would be.
Right.
And then self-determination is not resolved. So do you create another constitution once we self-determine? And it's a lot.
It is a very steep challenge, and it's just never black and white when you're coming at it from, territorial reality. And so, when I look at this piece, I always think about it in that way particularly, right? Like, if we're gonna, it's not that we don't want to write a constitution, but we have to also acknowledge that the premise in authorizing Guam to write one is that it has to recognize the sovereignty of the U.S. Constitution, right? It has to be written within the confines of the U.S. Constitution, which is all fine and good if you're a member of the Union.
Yes.
If you're a state, because if you're a state, the Constitution, yes, there are impositions, right, that the federal government puts on each state, but that is balanced out. The U.S. system of democracy is all about checks and balances, right? The check and balance for that imposition and that, superiority of the federal government, right, in terms of sovereignty, that is checked and balanced by state sovereignty, right? And sovereignty within the state's borders, which is a very different thing for us. Like, where's the check and balance for a possession?
Yeah, I think we could argue that there's no check and balance.
There isn't.
Yeah.
I was totally just being facetious with my question.
Sorry.
But yeah, way to make it direct. Yeah, Harvey's like, what are you talking about? Let's call it what it is, man. Stop being cute with it.
If it quacks like a duck.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, okay, so let's take the dive into some of the particulars. We already talked about the U.S. federal government authorizing Guam to draft the Constitution. This was in 76.
Yes.
All right. We voted for it in 79. Yes. We rejected it. See, this is why I like you guys. All my notes is right. I love it. Now, the Guam's Commonwealth Draft Act was created by the Second Commission on Self-Determination. And the voting populace in 82 voted for Commonwealth status at a 73% margin, which is pretty staggering. But the Commonwealth Draft Act was submitted in 85, and major revisions were proposed that would result in continued federal oversight and less control by Guam leaders in matters involving military bases, congressional legislation affecting Guam duty-free restrictions, and others. This was kind of the turning point, I think, for Guam's strategy. You know, we were very kind of federal heavy, and our representation at the international level was pretty minimal. Almost absent, really. Like, there was definitely civil society engagement, but the government of Guam really only started officially engaging the United Nations after the Commonwealth Draft Act era.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that piece in regard to, you know, this idea that, like, we can kind of solve this thing by a 100% federal push. Kind of change in the way that we engage the feds, and essentially that means abandoning all international engagement. So let's talk a little bit about international engagement versus federal engagement. Why do we do it? What's the point of this? What's the point of doing both, even?
Yeah, I think when looking at international engagement, you have to recognize how Guam is seen internationally.
Right.
Guam is one of 17 remaining non-self-governing territories,
Right.
and we have been on that list. We were placed on that list voluntarily by the United States,
Right.
and that also is sort of in recognition of the United States, inherent responsibility to Guam, because the United States in the international system, I think we've discussed this before on the program, is that they are Guam's administering power.
Right.
And this dates all the way back to when we were sort of acquired by the United States through the Treaty of Paris after
Right.
the Spanish-American
Right.
War. Right. That's kind of the impetus to why, we're still a territory. Right. And the United States' responsibility to effectuate our self-determination. Right.
Right.
So this international engagement is just another avenue for Guam to advocate for itself, because I think you've said this before, if you're not there at the table, then
Right,
you're going to be spoken for.
Yeah, for sure.
So that level of engagement is something that has been done by the government, at a consistent level. I believe at least at this administration every year, we've seen engagement at both United Nations committees that, recognize or work on this issue.
Right.
That's the 4th Committee and C24. And this is something that, is something that we're taking advantage of. This is another avenue besides federal engagement for us to sort of put the linchpin, the responsibility on the U.S. to foresee their obligation internationally for us here on Guam.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to add with Byron what he's saying, and with the United States recognizing that their responsibility as Guam's administering power, when it comes to that started all the way back in 1945. They're
Right.
a founding member of the UN Charter, and with the UN Charter, they recognize that self-determination is a human right. And so they agreed it's a human right, it should not be denied, and therefore we take on this territory and we take on the responsibility of helping them self-determine and seek, I'm going to get the wording wrong, but essentially social, economic, and cultural advancement.
Right.
And I
Which
know
was also in the Treaty of Paris.
Yeah.
Right. That they were obligated to take on that responsibility and ensure that we advance politically, economically, socially, culturally.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that these are important things. The reason why I personally subscribe to this school of thought is because I think it's a very complete way. It's a holistic way for us to approach it, but it's also necessary. I think that we've seen historically kind of the inconsistent approach when it comes to dealing with territories. The goalpost is always moving when you're a territory. Sometimes things are true and consistent with all federal policy across the board with all states and territories, and other times it's like, this is what it is for states and this is what it is for territories. The feds will always kind of pick and choose when they want to treat us the same and when they want to discriminate against us, and that's their right based on the framework of our territorial existence, right? That's at the heart of the territorial clause. That's at the heart of the insular cases, So, I mean, I think it's clear that the status is inferior, but what I what I like about this school of thought is that we are connecting the dots and creating layers of where it is consistent, because it's so wildly inconsistent. And so being able to say, in some instances, the federal government will be like, well, that's not for us to decide. Like, we don't want to have anything to do with Guam's self-determination. You guys figure it out. We support it, but, we're not going to tell you how to do it. And then there's other times when it's like, oh, well, you can't do it like that. Yes. This is how you have to do it. And, even on the international level, within the U.S. framework, they say that they're supportive, but none of the territories have self-determined and elevated themselves into a sovereign or fully self-governing status. And even in the one that was with us in the signing of the Treaty of Paris fought a war to become independent, the Philippines, right? Yeah. Yes. And so, and Cuba, if you want to go to Cuba, Cuba's also included in the Treaty of Paris. And so it's, a treaty is an international treaty is supposed to be like the highest law of the world, right? Like that's, these are big high level agreements that have implications, but nobody's ever really held the United States responsible for their obligations within the Treaty of Paris. Ironically, the Treaty of Paris also refers to us as native inhabitants, which is kind of the crux of the defeat of of Guam in the Davis case. Was that discrimination, which is I think very, very troubling. But yeah, so for me personally, it's not like we spend enormous amounts of money for international engagement. I mean, really, I think we could do better. We engage very consistently, but not very often. Once a year is not a whole lot. A couple times a year is not a whole lot. I would love to spend $1 million a year on federal engagement. We also lost like $1 million in the Davis case. It's like insult to injury, man. That could have been seed money. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the federal piece, because I think that this is something that, and I promise we'll make time for the build-up piece and the commandant. But let's talk about the federal piece, because I don't 100% disagree with this argument that there is value in federal engagement. Yeah. I definitely think that there is value in federal engagement. What are some things that you guys have seen in the past that you think have been effective, or things that we can improve in terms of our federal engagement on this particular issue?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question. I mean, we would love to see a whole government approach, for example, right? I mean, you were mentioning how we've seen delegates, right, for Guam who have taken this issue in stride to really effectuate some sort of change for Guam. I mean, we would love to see our current congressional delegate really support this issue, because
I agree with that.
Sure. As an outvoting member, he still has influence when you think about it. As a Republican, for example, they currently control the House. That could have some sway in kind of effectuating some sort of coalition or lobby to support Guam's effort. And it's something that coincides as well with Puerto Rico, for example, who've really taken on a lot, a lot of steps to push forward, self-determining themselves with, their own acts within the halls of Congress.
Yeah, I agree. I think a whole of government approach is awesome. We've seen what that has done for the conversation around Puerto Rico. It's not perfect. They haven't resolved, obviously, but it's a totally different landscape in their discussion versus Guam's. Guam's, we're kind of the afterthought. Puerto Rico, I think, is clearly leading the national debate around self-determination for territories. Did you want to add anything to that, Harmony?
I think I'm okay for now. Okay. I'll wait until a better moment.
No worries. We have Ern on line 2 who wants to join the conversation. Hafide, Ern, you're on the air.
Hafide. Buenas, todo.
Buenas.
I just wanted to ask you a question. You said that there was money that disappeared for the cause of stuff, and then
I think the Davis case.
Oh, I was sorry. I apologize, Ern. I was totally being facetious and just being sarcastic. I was I was making a joke in poor taste that Senator or Professor McNitch had recommended that we invest $1 million a year in a lobbying effort, and I was just trying to be sarcastic in saying that the outcome of the Davis versus Guam case, where they challenged our local law for the plebiscite, the self-determination plebiscite. We lost that case in the Ninth Circuit Court, and part of the ruling was that he sued us, and so the government had to pay Dave Davis, like it was about $1 million, right? Or it was exactly $1 million, something like that.
Approximate.
Yeah, approximately $1 million. That was part of the lawsuit.
All right. Well, my question is that I know that you're fighting for self-determination for Guam, but with all this military issues that are going on right now, I mean, not issues, I'm not going to say issues, projects that are going on and stuff and all that. How harder is it now to try to get that self-determination?
Man, Ern, I think that's a fantastic question, because, this is the reason why I believe that self-determination for Guam is so urgent. It's because the longer it goes unresolved, the more we are placed at a disadvantage. If you think about where we are today, right? Where we are today as compared to just 30 years ago, there's so much more military investment and infrastructure, and not the public investment, right? This is solely for military purpose, right? We're so much further entrenched today than we were just 30 years ago, or where we were back when we were voting on Commonwealth. And the landscape has changed significantly. And so, and the more that we kind of go down this path, the more deeper we become entrenched in this relationship. But I think the troubling thing is more about the dependency, right? We were already in a place where we're dealing with this kind of forced dependency, it is a forced dependency, right? Guam was 100% self-sufficient prior to the war. And then after the war, it's like, we depend on the United States for everything. Food and security and models of government, you name it. And so when you look at it in this way, I think the part of the challenge for me is that we're so deep in this military conversation with DOD, and DOD has a tendency to say, oh, well, we're not going to comment on Guam's self-determination. That's not our, it's not our area. That's not, we're here for the military mission, and that's it. That's for Congress. But we're not getting engagement with Congress, and DOD is inevitably a part of it, right? Because that's the purpose, that's the value of Guam to the United States, is for military purposes. And so for me, even in this commentary around, greater federal engagement, I feel like we should be using the military buildup as an excuse to have better and more consistent conversation with Congress and with the federal government. But I also think that if we're going to do that, we can't do that minus the self-determination conversation. Like, let's talk about the buildup. Let's talk about the missile defense system. Let's talk about the troops. Let's talk about the water and the road infrastructure. But all of this has always got to be connected to our lack of self-government. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it's also very critical, is because we have seen time and again things that are part of the military mission that are being imposed upon us. Like, this is just what it is. Like, this is what we're going to do. And we don't get a chance to say, we don't like this, or we don't think you should do it this way. We just kind of get taken along for the ride. And the most recent example is the missile defense system. And it doesn't matter for me about, what anybody's personal thoughts are on, whether a missile defense system is good or bad. That's not what we're arguing. I think what I'm arguing is that the missile defense budget was approved in Congress even before we ever heard about it, ever even heard the plan. You know what I mean? And so it kind of tells you that the federal government, Congress, the military, they have their own plan going, and whatever we feel about it is irrelevant. I think that's the thing that people should really take to heart. Is where are you, as the people who live here, have been living here, will continue to live here, when everything is all said and done. We have the least say in what's going to go down. And so
it's not that we don't have the least say, that there is somebody in there, or some people that are in there, that knew about this, that didn't, just like you said, they passed it through Congress and everything and all that, and we were the last to know.
Right.
But apparently, that's not true. Some people here did know.
And I think that, you know,
they don't want to say that because then now, you know, you're right. I mean, our right to self-determination and stuff and all that, that's on, yes, that's on us here and all this. But the more that they keep building up, the harder it is you know what? Every time when you gain an inch,
you lose
they
a mile.
bury you by another 10, 20 feet.
Yep, I don't disagree with that at all, Ern, and I think that that's something that is very relevant and super immediate. I mean, even if you look at just we talked a little bit about the Davis case this morning, and you know the implications of the Davis case ultimately means that if we are going to have an act of self-determination, it's looking very likely. You know, if the government is going to run it, it means that we're going to have to just allow every single registered voter on Guam to vote, right? Now, on Guam, it only takes, like a month to establish residency and apply to be a voter. 1 month. And we're not even close to the total population impact. We're expected to take on another, 50,000 people, somewhere around there? 44,000 more people within the next,
2037 is there?
By 2037. Yes. So let's just say that we get this thing going. You know, the population on Guam has already changed significantly. You know what I mean? So the interests of the genuine interests of the citizens of Guam is hard to ascertain through a plebiscite where every eligible voter on Guam can vote. Every eligible voter on Guam today, you know, is not a lifetime citizen of Guam. And that's really who you want, right? When you're asking for an act of self-determination, you want the opinions of your lifetime residents. You know what I mean? Your lifetime citizens, the people who genuinely call this place home, not who just moved here a month ago. They're going to be here for a couple of years, and then they're going back to Cincinnati or wherever it is they move from. And so, you know, it's a challenge for sure.
States, to become a registered voter in the States or for anything in the States and stuff and all that, you have to be a resident of there for about a year.
Right. Which even that is tough, you know, just to be honest with you, if we're going to go if we're going to shoot down our local legislation and kind of adhere to the ruling of the Ninth Circuit Court in our plebiscite, I feel like there needs to be a more stringent qualification to become a registered voter for this particular exercise. You know, I feel like you have to prove, and for me, it's like this is not. You know, oftentimes when we talk about the Davis case, it always gets kind of reduced to just like a race-based argument. And for me personally, I think that I care less about that. I care more about those who really call this place home and are really invested in our future. You know, if you don't plan to live here when you know, and your kids won't live here when you pass, I'm really not that concerned about what you want Guam's political future to be. Mm-hmm. I care about the people whose grandkids are gonna live with my grandkids. You know what I mean? Like those people. I want to know what those people want for Guam, because those are the ones that will live with the choices that we make. You know, you and I, we can, even if we voted on political status today, we wouldn't really feel the benefits. You know, our kids would, our grandkids would, and they will also feel the mistakes that we make along the way. You know, so for me, it's like, I want the people who are going to live with the burden to make the decision.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate your time, Ern.
We need to educate the ones that are going in high school or freshmen in college and stuff and all that too also, so that they can understand.
I agree.
What's going to happen in the future. But everything that's being pushed out on these other media platforms is about woke this, woke that, pronouns this, pronouns that. You got to respect my gender, whatever I decide to be. And that there is way beyond what that's needed for Guam. You know, and I know that there's a lot of stuff that is going on in the States, and it's going to happen here too also. It's like what they said on one of the peer shows and all that. Why does a certain group get a whole month of recognition. And where is this for this group? Where's this for this group? Where's this for the other group? It's either one day or no day. So, they just got to be fair across the board.
Yeah, and it definitely is not fair across the board when you're a territory. But thank you for your call, Ern. Thank you for your time and your comments. I appreciate you tuning in and weighing in.
All right.
Have a great day. Adios. I'm not going to lie, that kind of hit a nerve with me. I think we need to just start. You know what, guys? I identify as a human, just for the record. I identify as a human. I identify as self-governing. I think Guam just needs to do that. It's like, my pronouns are SG, FSG, fully self-governing. Oh, man. Let's go, dude. Let's go. I think that's going to be our new strategy, guys. We're just going to tell the U.S. Congress how we identify. We do not identify as a territory, sir.
We identify as sovereign.
Yeah, we identify as sovereign. Yeah. That's what it is.
I definitely think marginalized groups can work together and to uplift all of us. So
I agree. Yeah. So I promise we're not going to miss this, and we're totally back at the tail end here. But I got to give it to Ern, because Ern gave us a great segue. Asking the question of how do we self-determination, amidst a massive military buildup and rapidly changing landscape in our relationship with the federal government in regard to national security and military. So there was a story. Where was this one from? PDN?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
PDN.
A local story, as well as
there was international coverage on this too, right?
It's a defense-oriented publication.
Okay. So there was a U.S. Marine Corps commandant. His name is General Eric Smith. He is a U.S. Marine Corps 4-star general who served as the 39th Commandant of the Marine Corps since September 2023. There was an article in the PDN entitled "Commandant Relocating to Guam, Going the Wrong Way." Underwood says, comment not surprising. So the PDN ran this story about this general who basically said that that moving Marines from Okinawa to Guam puts us being the United States, puts us going the wrong way. He basically says that Guam, a relocation to Guam puts us on the other side of the international date line. It puts us a long way from the crisis theater, from the priority theater. And what he's talking about is the conflict, the theater being the Asian theater, right? This conflict with China and U.S. military presence in the region, or in that region versus in the Pacific region. Later on, there in the article included some comments from former Congressman Dr. Underwood, who said, quote, anyone who has been tracking Marines for many years knows Guam's location is not the preferred location for the Marines for a number of reasons. Now, this is a kind of long-standing conversation, I think. There's the buildup, obviously, is hotly debated. But I think what's the reason why I wanted to bring this particular article into our conversation is precisely that, what we discussed earlier, that we don't have agency in how this is going to be effectuated, why it even started. There, we were truly on the menu for this whole ride. We were not included in the sovereign negotiation between the United States and Japan. We were not included in the congressional conversation on the execution of this mission or the budget allocation that was going to tie to this. We really are only taken seriously in an EIS. And I would even argue that that's not very serious. Yeah. So, to Ern's point, right, or his question, what does any of that have to do with self-determination? For me, I feel like it has everything to do with it. And I've been in these meetings with DOD where, officials have said, well, that's not for us to comment on. I mean, we as a group have even tried to get the Rear Admiral at one point into our Fanjita conference to have discussions around national security and the implications it has on self-determination. And, it wasn't him, but his filter people were kind of very upfront. You know what I mean?
They
the
like
rear admiral
cancel last minute.
Yeah,
on
rear
us.
admiral's not
It was
going to answer these
crazy.
questions. These are not. This is not what we do. We don't want to be involved in the self-determination conversation.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Did you want to?
Sorry, yeah, no, okay, sorry, I wanted to say this earlier, but just connecting the points that you're making to the second topic that we covered, when you said we're, compared to 30 years ago, we're more entrenched with militarization, and we see this today with like the military buildup and camp laws and everything. So when we had that conversation about federal versus international engagement, I think having international engagement is one way that we do check the federal government, and saying like, you have all this military activity happening and it's detrimental to our self-determination.
It is.
And it's like, aside from the EIS, one of the only ways we have a voice in that conversation, and bringing other partners, other nations in and saying, hey, we want to self-determine, but here's a real big obstacle to it.
Right. And that has been acknowledged and challenged. It's something that we successfully got on the international record with the United Nations. At one point, that language was in the resolution on Guam, asserting that the rapid militarization of Guam was the biggest fundamental threat to the genuine act of self-determination. And that's something that the United States has, worked year after year to remove. And word is they effectively removed it in this last resolution, which is
really unfortunate.
really unfortunate and very troubling. But I think it's the reason why I like that piece is because I feel like it signals to us that that the world is listening, and even the United States is listening, right? That when we engage at this level, people are paying attention. Definitely. Even the United States put enough energy, effort into getting it removed. Why would they care if nobody cared? You know what I mean? They care because other people do. Yeah. And so, I think that even with the Japan as a sovereign nation who is now an ally of the United States, a funder of the buildup, this has become an inseparable part of the conversation, even between us and Japan. We also have a lot of kind of social and intergovernmental connection with Japan on tourism, on education, even the arts and culture. We partner with them at least the Japanese consulate at the Guam Museum. So there's a lot of ways that we remain connected to the government of Japan. And this is something I think that even they have started to pay attention to because it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. They know that they engaged in this negotiation with the United States and not with Guam. But also that's not really theirs to resolve, right? Like we are not Japan's responsibility in that regard. We are, however, the responsibility of the United States in that regard. So, I think it's interesting because there have been, this has not been a one-sided discussion when it comes to militarization on Guam, specifically around buildup and, of course, the, ongoing political tensions between China and the U.S. There have been a lot of people, both, expat, current military, activist, advocate, on all fronts. There's been differing opinions about what should be done, how should this buildup be effectuated, or how should we deal with this international conflict between China and the United States. I think the challenging thing is that the official voice of Guam, the government of Guam voice we're not at the table where we need to be. No. And it's troubling because there are a lot of things that are said by even active military like this general here that that ring true or ring consistent with things that we have been saying on our front line. They're just not getting through to the places that they need to get through to. And so I applaud the PDN for running this story and kind of bringing this into the greater conversation, to all the advocates that have been kind of fighting for this and trying to be heard. Dr. Underwood is now part of he's the founding member of the Pacific Island Center, Pacific Center for Island Security. Yes. And they've been really active and vocal around this particular conversation, and from a very academic standpoint, which I really appreciate. You guys got some 2 cents. I know we're coming short up on time. We got about 4 minutes.
Oh,
but
that's okay. Oh man, 4 minutes. Okay, I'll just plug this real quick. There's another article that we have here today that we're going to reference. So this is from the Task and Purpose. They're a defense-oriented publication. So we're just citing this because they had direct engagement with a spokesperson from the Marine Corps. And this is how they reported it. The Marine Corps supports the 2012 agreement between Japan and the United States and the planned relocation of forces to Guam or Hawaii. And this is a quote from that said spokesperson. So quote, the Marine Corps will continue to explore options for the best location for the future force in the region. The realignment of Japan-based Marines is a result of nearly 20 years of bilateral policy negotiation reflected in multiple international agreements and arrangements. This laid out honors an international agreement with the Japanese government. And I'm just quoting that because that's indicative of the fact that Guam and the government weren't at the table with this realignment.
Right.
And that's because of our lack of sovereignty as a territory.
Right.
And this is something that is, sort of, it's opposing the comment from the commandant himself.
Right.
And he's coming from a place of thinking about the three island chain strategy, for example.
Right.
Because he believes, or it can be inferred that he believes that being closer to the first island chain rather than the second, which Guam resides in, is more beneficial to military strategy as a whole.
Right. And I mean, I think it's the thing that really stands out for me here is that 20 years of bilateral policy negotiation. This is not something that just kind of came up. And if you know any of the history of Futenma Air Base in Okinawa, is a very troubling history. And so, the people of Okinawa have been fighting this fight and trying to get the Japanese government's attention, which they obviously effectively did. And that then sparked the engagement between U.S. government, Japanese government, 20 years of bilateral policy negotiation. And most of us are just kind of figuring this out in the last few years. And so, it definitely signals that Guam is not in an equitable place in terms of our representation. And we bear the greatest burden in all of this. We are the ones who are ultimately feeling the impacts of the buildup and all the things that come along with it, whether good or bad. And to not have a say in it is definitely problematic. I want to thank both of you for coming in today. I know that this is a tough imposition to make you get on the air and have this discussion in public, but I really appreciate your perspectives. Thanks again for putting in the work on the research side. If there's any of this that you find interesting or you want to know more about, you want to know where we got our information, you can reach out to us on our social media platforms, Guam COD on Instagram, Guam Commission on Decolonization on Facebook. You can go to our website, decol.guam.gov, and we'll be happy to work with you and share whatever resources we have. But Byron, Harmony, thank you for all of your work. I appreciate your time here. Reese, as always, I appreciate you being here. Thanks to all of our listeners on Instagram, on the Wave Facebook stream, and of course, all of our hardcore traditional radio listeners. You still got an antenna. You're a real one. All right, we'll see you next week on Monday, 10 a.m. to noon. Challenge the Status Quo will be back. Have a great day, everyone.